So the strikes are over. Actors, writers, they've got deals. And good ones, too.
Yeah.
You sound sad.
Yeah.
What's wrong, bud?
I mean, don't get me wrong, Adam. I'm really happy for the guilds. I mean, they stood strong and they faced incredible financial and emotional hardships just to secure a fair deal, but now our pro-worker rants will just be mixed in with all of our jokes about, piss and John Locke's wigs instead of here, at the top of the show.
Yeah, that is sad. I didn't really think about that. I mean, yeah, I love seeing workers' solidarity succeed, but having this little space here at the top of the show to make a clear argument about the necessity of unions as a bulwark against exploitation was really great.
I mean, what do you think? Should we quit doing Lost on Lost and start a workers' rights podcast?
Nah. As much as I love talking about labor action and roasting the bosses, I like making piss and wig jokes more.
Word.
If it makes you feel better, IATSE will probably have to strike next summer.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Hi, I'm JP.
And I'm Adam.
I've never seen Lost.
I have.
I'm told that it's good.
I liked it.
I'm told that it made sense.
Sort of.
But we're watching it out of order.
So it definitely won't make sense.
But it might still be good. Since we won't expect it to make sense, we'll still be able to appreciate each episode on its own merits as a 1-hour story.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
As opposed to just a fraction of an ongoing, sprawling, and increasingly complex tangle of relationships, personal stories, mysteries, mythologies, experiments, social dynamics, unnatural disasters, unanswered questions, and hot tropical hookups.
Are you okay?
I'm not sure.
Because you lost me a little bit there at the end.
Well, good, because I've been lost since the beginning. We're Lost on Lost.
Welcome, everybody, to Lost on Lost, The Lost Effect. I'm Adam Bush, and I'm joined, as always, by a man who, at every point in our relationship together, has had opportunity to talk me out of things, and never does, JP Russell.
Quitters never win, so that's why I keep on vaping and having fried rice for breakfast.
You're telling me a breakfast fried this rice? Ladies and gentlemen, the moment is here. We've teased it. We've talked about it in the larger lore of Lost on Lost. This is the rushing nesting doll of dumb ideas.
Yeah, this is fucking stupid even for us.
A dumb idea within a dumb idea within a dumb idea. The outermost dumb idea, Lost on Lost itself. This middle layer, the Nash Bridges of Brisco County Jr. sprint.
Yeah!
Based on an idea that because Damon, Lindelof, and Carlton, Cuse, the creators of Lost, must have cut their teeth somewhere, we were going to go back to see sort of their formative years and watch some episodes of The Adventures of Brisco County Jr. created by Carlton Cuse and Jeffrey Boehm. And then Damon Lindelof, some of the first episodes of television he ever wrote were on a little police procedural from the mid-90s called Nash Bridges, starring Don Johnson, Cheech Marin, and some other folks.
Are we sure that they're really cops? I don't know.
The innermost dumb idea. We're going to take those episodes that we've pre-selected, and we are going to try and cram 6 discussions into an hour-ish or so of time by setting a time limit and sprinting through them. 10 minutes apiece, 6 episodes, 3 Nash Bridges, 3 Brisco County Juniors, 2 hosts, and 1 guest.
Yeah.
Lost on Lost fans, Lost on Lost faithful, welcome back to the show, Kevin Heyer.
Hello, please kill me. I had to watch 3 episodes of Nash Bridges. I'm so upset.
Just, if you want to die, Kevin, just go to San Francisco and commit a minor crime.
Yeah, I just have to go jaywalk, and then Nash Bridges is going to run me over with his souped-up car.
Kevin,
Yes.
You've been on relatively recently. You were on one of our last episodes of season 1 of Lost on Lost.
Indeed,
Yeah.
What have you been doing in the meantime? What have you been doing since then?
So I'm trying to start a petition because I understand that people are looking to make sports a little bit more interesting. Like there's a lot of talk usually about baseball. It's like, oh, do we have to tweak the rules and stuff like that?
Yeah, like pitch clock
Sure,
and shit like that.
Yeah, definitely. So my what I'm trying to start right now is every sport, so baseball, football, it's going to work like wrestling, where if you can knock out the referee, then anything you do after that is legal. So, but the twist is every referee in sports is going to be an MMA fighter. So it's like,
Hell yeah.
you have to knock out Conor McGregor, but if you can do that, you can do as many false starts as you want. which is a long way to say I haven't been up to much. I've basically just been chilling, and I still hit the picket lines every once in a while because Segs, we still got to get Seg home, baby.
That's right.
So a lot of walking. That's what I've been up to.
Well, I've got some sagging going on after watching 6 episodes of these shows. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
So we have watched all 6 episodes of these 2 shows. We've taken our notes, we've got our intros written, but to make it even more difficult, we are now going to pick the order in which we're discussing them live. So Kevin is going to, he's got, what, six cards in front of you?
6 cards.
6 cards, numbered 1 through 6. We're going to pull them. I was like, we'll just roll a dice, a 6-sided die. And then, like, too long of time later, I realized that would result in a
We would just be repeating.
I was like, let's just do number 2 again. So then I was like, then I realized, I was like, they cut that out. So
Right.
No. Good call. Good call. Yeah, you want to go with the card.
Kevin is going to pick a number. Adam, shout out which episode that is, and let's fucking get this thing going, baby.
Let's do it. Number
5.
5. That is Nash Bridges. Cat fight. Starting the clock. 10 minutes. 3, 2, 1, go. Catfight is the 21st episode of Nash Bridges Season 6. It originally aired on April 27th, 2001. It was written by Reed Steiner and Damon Lindelof and directed by Ricardo Mendez Mata. Reed Steiner was a co-executive producer on 22 episodes of The District, which is another police procedural in which Craig T. Nelson, Coach, plays the chief of the Washington, D.C. Police Department. Damon Lindelof was in a band called Petting Zoo while at NYU, and Ricardo Mendez Mata was the second assistant director on 5 episodes of ABC's Dinosaurs.
Oh, nice.
Hey, JP, you got a recap?
Yeah, I do. Hey, Adam, get the telescope. These ladies are smooching. Nash and the rest of the totally real cop patrol have to hunt down 2 lady bank robbers. #feminism. Betty Ann is horny for files. Rachel is horny for horses. And everyone on Earth is horny for Bill Smitrovich. Of course you know who that is. Have I been listening to nothing but Antoine and Boz's rap all day? You be the judge, you sucker MC. This is Catfight here on The Lost Effect.
Jeepers creepers. Oh, my God. Brilliant. Don Johnson and Cheech own a horse together. That's the first thing.
Yeah, what the
Evidently, yeah.
There's so much talk about $300,000 in this fucking episode.
Do you know how much money that would have been in 2001 dollars?
Yeah. Something about birthday cake.
Bill
Smitrovich.
Fucking Phil Lesh is in this episode. He does not get credited.
Correct.
What?
I'm not even a huge Deadhead. I like the Dead, because I had, parents who liked them and whatever. But so, yeah, I was like, oh, fuck Phil Lesh, fuck yeah. And then, nowhere in the credits, whatever. Bill Smitrovich. I don't even know which person in the episode Bill Smitrovich played. And
he's the dad from Life Goes On. Come on.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is such a bad indicator for the rest of how this is going to go.
The cop who I just referred to as Pile of Laundry, because he's usually wearing like a vest and then a shirt that doesn't wear the vest and a Grateful Dead fucking armband, like he's in the fucking Black Panthers and a beret.
Yeah. Dude, no, the first time I saw him, I was like, oh, word, like this is like an undercover cop. Like, because the first time we see him in like the first episode that I watched for this, I was like, oh yeah, he must have been like a beat cop, like he was doing something. But then he kept wearing the same shit. And I realized, no, that's just him. That's just his choice.
Guys, we need to get to more important information. Like, why does Don Johnson, Nash Bridges, have 300 pencils on his desk? I noticed that in the next scene, and I lost my goddamn mind.
Christ almighty. The episode starts off with a heist.
Yeah.
A bulldozer just plows through the side of a rock club where Phil Lesh and friends are playing. Pile of Laundry, not detective. This is San Francisco, so they're inspectors, which is just cooler.
Okay.
But
he happens to be
be there because Phil Lesh is there, because he's a deadhead. This is the explanation that I got to. I had to Google that shit because they never really explain it until this moment, which was the last episode of Nash Bridges I watched. This is the second to last episode of the series.
This is it. This is the second to last in the series.
Penultimate, yeah. You can really feel it wrapping up, can't you, JP?
Holy hell.
This
What do we got
man
next?
who, the actor, I was convinced it was Chris Cooper for the first 2 episodes. I was like, that looks so much like Chris Cooper, just with more weight on his face. Turns out it's not. He's a deadhead. He's seen 200 Grateful Dead shows. This bulldozer plows into this thing, and yeah, they're ripped off by some ladies on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Right.
They kill one guard, they wound another. I also noticed with Nash Bridges, all of the cops constantly have crimes happening around them, but it takes them a bit to hear it. And I'm letting you know right now, if a bulldozer plows through a fucking wall, I don't care how loud that set is. You're going to be like, dude, a wall's gone. Like, you're going to
But
know
then he hears the
something's up.
gunshot.
Yeah, exactly.
Counterpoint, if you've been to north of 200 Grateful Dead shows, maybe you have hearing damage or tinnitus or something.
Anyway, Rachel wants a horse for her birthday, a chestnut mare. I'll drag my chestnuts across your mare. Next scene.
Got him. I don't even know which scene is next.
It doesn't matter. Just keep going.
Yeah, what is so like the next interesting thing? Oh, so this is the thing that drove me nuts about it, and they do talk about it a little bit later in the episode. The bike is like distinctly unique. It's got like a fancy, and I was
Yeah,
like,
all of the criminals have like the most distinct shit about them in order to commit crimes. It's like they'll wear like a ski mask, but then they'll leave on like this souped up fucking motorcycle with a license plate that says my address is 1876 North Broadway Street. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck?
right.
They left in the monster truck called Gravedigger. How are we ever going to find him?
And to be fair, later when the girls are arguing about the crime not having worked as smoothly as one would have hoped, this bulldozer caper, they do say we should have stolen a less obvious motorcycle. And then the other one's like, I didn't say we should steal one. And they were like, yes, you did. They get this gig from Debo from Friday.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Rest in peace, Tiny Lister. Betty Ann asked Nash out.
Yeah.
To the planetarium. And he's like, I don't fucking, I don't date other cops. That's fucking Chekhov's pussy. I don't know. Like,
don't ever ask me out again. I don't date coworkers. Let me go tell the coworker that I'm currently dating how weird you are.
yeah.
Somewhere in here, a peeping Tom steals all the money from the girls.
Correct.
And he says it's double jeopardy. That's not how that works.
Which pile of laundry is like...
He points out. Yeah.
Like, I'm a cop. I know all the rules. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
But so this here, and I have a note, and I apologize for derailing our limited time. But in college, I had an idea for a parody of Law and Order that I wanted to shoot with JP. Kevin, you would have been likely involved also because I think you were at school at this point. Maybe you weren't. It was like my last year of school. I was like, let's do like 4 Law and Order parody episodes. Me and JP, we're gonna be Lenny Brisco and Benjamin Bratt. And then each week we'll solve like a Law and Order crime and we'll play it entirely straight. But the bad guy is always played by Noah Totsky in different disguises.
I remember this now.
And I always thought that was such a dumb sort of thing until I realized that here in the episode Catfight, one of the lady bank robbers is played by the same actress who appears in a different episode of Nash Bridges. Not only a different episode of Nash Bridges, but one we watched for this episode of the podcast.
Oh my fucking god! No, is she the one in the game one?
Yes.
Oh
the
my!
maid.
Jesus
that is her.
Christ!
Oh my
It's
god!
the same actress.
I'm
playing 2 different characters.
Holy shit!
And I was like,
no one cared on Nash
Not
Bridges,
at all.
man.
She did 3 episodes. There's a 3rd episode of Nash Bridges she did playing a 3rd different character.
It's because Don Johnson wanted a second chance at hitting that.
You feel like the second AD is like making the call sheet. He's like, why does that name seem familiar? Whatever.
Who gives a shit? Antoine and Boz start rapping.
Yeah,
I wrote in here in my notes, what did I miss? Because I wasn't paying attention. for part of it,
watched-
and then
okay,
I
so
woke up to them rapping.
What I will give this episode of Nash Bridges credit for is it's the only episode we watched that didn't have two A plots competing with each other at the same time.
Sure.
So no, the rappings, that's a C plot where the comic relief character, who is a white man who desperately loves black culture.
Yeah.
And they try to get a lot of comic mileage out of it, but there's some sort of scheme that someone is pulling in a record label. And so
Insurance fraud.
Yeah, and so it's like him and one other
Antoine.
inspector, yes, Antoine, have to go and solve the crime. Effectively, like stop the insurance fraud or figure out what's going on.
Right.
Cheech like has a side gig as a private investigator on top of being a
This is
lieutenant?
another thing I googled. Somewhere during the run of Nash Bridges, Joe and Nash start a private detective agency. So yes, they are both cops and private investigators.
Oh my god.
Why?
Law and Order did 20 years of just like cops solving crimes, but Nash Bridges were like, we don't have enough places to draw stories from.
Nash Bridges got to shoot a lady dead in the street and smooch some lady cop who's definitely his employee.
Oh, and also Tom Brooks is a pervert. He was dating one of the lady. Can't finish the thought. Time's up. Sorry.
All right.
So yeah, that was Catfight. Everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed that. They're ready for 5 more fucking
What a good
conversations.
podcast this is.
just
Kevin,
like
next
it.
card.
Yeah, I'm on it. Don't worry. All right, next one. Number 2.
Number 2, that'd be the Orb Scholar. Start the timer. 3, 2, 1. 10 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
The Orb Scholar is the second episode of the first season of The Adventures of Brisco County Jr. Orb Scholar originally aired on September 3rd, 1993. It was written by Carlton Cuse and was directed by Andy Tennant. Andy Tennant directed 11 episodes of The Kaminsky Method, which, you know, is basically just Amistad, but for old white folks. Adam, do you have a recap?
Get orbed, nerd! Bounty hunter Brisco County Jr. heads to Poker Flats, Colorado, chasing the lead on John Blythe, the man responsible for the death of his father. Turns out Poker Flats is run by Dana Scully's brother Bill Jr. and the doctor from Star Trek Voyager. And these two clowns need to check out my TED Talk on prison reform. All cops are bastards, even the dog. So the orb is missing is the problem. I didn't realize that the first...
Oh yeah, P.S. Even though this is a Western, there's a fucking orb. Go on.
Of course there's an orb. Gotta have an orb. Dude, the prisoners got orb. Fucking
Orb.
everybody's got orb.
There's an orb podcast now. I watched. I didn't realize the first like 45 seconds, 60 seconds of this was a recap. So I was like,
Yeah,
what
I thought it was
Same.
like,
I was like,
this was the intro of the
Is
show.
this just what this is for 45 minutes? I was so baffled.
I was like, it's kind of like an audiobook, like, but I'm it's like listening to a Zane Grey novel while on mescaline. Like,
I want that to be the clipping, like, quote, you know, on the poster.
yeah, a quick thing about Brisco. I love Brisco. I saw it when I was a kid. I've always liked steampunk, Weird West stuff like that, like that type of genre of thing. Like so, like this show is right up my alley. That said, watching these 3 episodes without watching the rest of the show around it. So I just want to go on record saying that up front. I'm a big fan of this show.
For what it's worth, especially when you put it up against Nash Bridges, this is like a fucking like fountain coke in the middle of a desert. It's just, oh my god, it's exactly what you
You are
want.
both so fucking wrong. I would rather watch Nash Bridges.
Why?
Wow.
Why? No.
Wow.
Go on record right now. Why? Look me dead in the
This
digital
show,
eye.
I don't know what this show is. Is it supposed to be funny? Where's the comedy? It's not slapsticky enough. It's not silly enough. It's not goofy enough. It's just like slow-paced Western that has an orb.
Excuse me. There's.
You just said everything that makes it awesome.
It's an action adventure, and then every once in a while there's some
no
comedic
action.
element.
It's a throwback to movie serials, the Western serials, but it's great. It's
And there's a reason those died off.
unreal. So yeah, Brisco. This show takes place in San Francisco. Socrates' Pools' office.
San Francisco.
What?
San Francisco. Anyways.
Stop it. Socrates' Pools' office is in San Francisco, and he needs to go to Poker Flats, Colorado. So he just rides his horse over there. The one thing I love about the show is that it does time jumps within the episode. One of the other ones that we watched also had a 3-month time jump in between, like the scene before the opening credits and after, like 3 months had passed. Wonderful. I love shit like that. So yeah, he just rides his horse over to fucking Colorado. And he's got to meet his old friend Donovan Joe, who one time when they were young set him up against the Swill brothers.
Rather than keep Brisco just in jail and then shoot him or something, he invites him to dinner to then tell him his dastardly plan to then pull a gun on him to then try and kill him.
People are getting released, escaped, thrown into and out of jail so much in this episode. I'm like, why?
Yeah. No, inefficiency is the name of the game in this show. Like, there's a lot of inefficiency that happens. We'll bring up more of it later, but yeah, that is your first indicator that, like...
Nope, just talk about it now. There's no time. We're already down to 6 minutes.
Fuck. Yeah, man, like, yeah, there is. There's just a lot of inefficiency, and, like, this definitely feels like a show where they were like, we got to get it to 45 minutes, don't we? And so, like, there is some stretching.
I will give that to you, JP. It is slow compared to especially like modern day action television stuff like that. The pacing of Brisco is much slower than probably most stuff we are used to.
Oh, absolutely.
If it was 30-minute episodes, it would be better.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I give you that. Lord Bowler was in jail already when Brisco got there, which I thought was pretty great.
Wait, is that the professor?
No. Lord, that's the other bounty hunter.
the other
who he's
bounty
like
hunter.
buds
Oh,
with.
Bowler. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And like that's the thing is, I actually really like the dynamic between Brisco and Bowler.
It's great.
Like those two are actually, I think, a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
And what I will also say to Brisco's credit, also knocking Nash Bridges, is like it at least seems like Brisco is like at least somewhat charming of a person.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes, but he recognizes when he makes mistakes and stuff. So, like, he just, for me, is a much more enjoyable protagonist than Nash Bridges. Because Nash is just an arrogant ass.
Yeah.
Who
You
you're
watch
supposed
your
to
ass,
think is...
Bubba.
In his head, he thinks he's really charming. And the show
Exactly.
tries to make him look charming. And
Right.
it fails.
Exactly.
Fails. Look at how expensive his suits are. Anyways,
Look at how expensive his car is. He won't sell that shit for anything.
What an idiot. We'll get to that.
Back to Brisco.
Blythe
Okay,
shows
so-
up and is like, hey, I want fucking Brisco County Jr. Dead, and what are these drawings? The professor knows about the orb. Get me that orb, man.
Give me the orb professor, the orb scholar.
Yeah, well, and what I did like about this, when that bad guy shows up, like the heel.
Bly.
Yeah, Bly. When he showed up, that was the first indicator that there was going to be time travel elements of the show, because Bly is played by the offspring of Willem Dafoe and Tilda Swinton, who somehow traveled back in time to star in the show. That was all I could think. I was just like, is that fucking Tilda Swinton? No, that's Willem Dafoe. Oh my God, that's kind of both, isn't it?
Bly.
Who are these cheekbones?
That dude is, the actor's name is Billy Drago, and they, like, Bruce Campbell and other folks involved with it, they're like so happy to have him because of how creepy he looks and how skeezy his vibe is in the show. Like,
Oh, he does
like,
a good job.
Yeah, they're like, he was the perfect guy to play John Bly.
Yeah.
He fucking shoots Brisco.
Yep. I also want to make note that the original sheriff of Poker Flats is in jail. Which
Lock 'em
happened
all up.
earlier.
The
Professor hypnotizes the guard to go.
Yeah, he Jedi mind tricks him.
Yep.
But then the professor gives him the old switcheroo, and sends him the wrong way so that
tricked.
he can get the
Go
orb.
to this other warehouse. The orb is actually not there. Sucker.
You dumb
Man, you guys are so dumb.
Bly's just
but
like,
then,
God damn it, not again.
Not again.
Why do I keep believing people who I interrogate under duress?
But then, so the professor's got the fucking orb, and Brisco gets a bunch of orb juice on him, and he's like, okay.
Fucking Lord Bowler sings like an angel.
Dude,
he said
does.
he said in the show, he's like, I sing like an angel. And I was waiting for it to be like a gag and him not sing that well. And Julius Carey, that dude's got a voice. Holy fuck.
does.
I was
He really does.
I was transported.
he is a very good singer. And also, you have to consider that Amazing Grace, in the time in which the show is set, is so, like, kind of a relatively new song, which means that if this took place today, it'd be like, I'm going to sing this person in their final moments to comfort them, and then they would sing With Arms Wide Open.
Holy fuck.
The orb juice saves Brisco. The professor just disappears. That's where I wrote my note. Did he literally disappear? Or did he just
I
leave?
don't know.
Okay.
Well, so then, like, the sheriff can't shoot Brisco. He just keeps shooting at him, and like the bullets are just like going around him.
Oh yeah, that scene.
yeah.
That scene reminded me a lot of how I felt when student loans came back this month. It was just me shooting at him and screaming, "You were supposed to be dead!"
It reminds me of Ernest Goes to Camp when the guy tries shooting at him and all the bullets go around Ernest.
I just thought of Dumb and Dumber when you're alive and you're a terrible shot. But yeah, they throw all the bad guys and the dog in jail. Brisco and Bowler.
What'd the dog do?
ACAB, bro. I told you.
Then we have to throw all of Paw Patrol in the fucking prison system too.
All bitches are bastards.
Briscoe's like, "Hey, Bowler, we got some orb shit going on," and he's like, "Nope, no orb stuff.
Not having it.
I'm a regular Western trope. I'm not a steampunk Western trope. I'm leaving, and I'm just gonna follow you around and try to snag bounties from you in your wake." And then they leave town together. It's and yeah, such a wonderful relationship. Because I've seen the Brisco County Junior pilot recently, like within the past year or two, because I love the show and I wanted to rewatch it. Well,
I'm sure what you were going to say was very
bad.
profound
That's
or
that.
touching or yeah. It's a shame we can't go further into it. All right, next
card.
Maybe you will get to keep talking about what you were saying because 6 is another Brisco County Junior episode.
Let's pull up our notes on Bye Bly. 10 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1. Bye Bly is the 20th episode of The Adventures of Brisco County Jr. Season 1 and originally aired on February 18th, 1994. It was written by Carlton Cuse and directed by Kim Manners. Carlton Cuse was born in Mexico, which I just learned today, and Kim Manners attributes his success as a director on The X-Files to his work on The Adventures of Brisco County Jr., saying that it really woke him up as a director, almost spiritually.
Ugh.
JP, do you have a recap?
I do. Brisco and Bowler chase down a character somehow more stereotypically French than Pepe Le Pew, named Pepe. Blythe escapes the orb and threatens to enslave the world. Brisco must get the information from a naked future lady on how to stop him. She can't directly help, but she can show up with her yams out and tell everybody exactly how the future's going to play out. She's technically not doing anything directly. Brisco must race against time to save the world, save Bowler, and if he's got time, stop the Holocaust. Oh, he doesn't have time? Whatever. Let's talk about Endgame here on The Lost Effect.
Jesus Christ.
Yikes.
Kevin and I had that same conversation about how this woman makes Brisco do the work when she can just do it.
Yeah, seriously. Like, it's the equivalent of if I showed up in, like, an art professor's, like, office in Austria in the 20s and is like, hey, you should kill Hitler. Like, I was just going to be like, what the fuck did you do it? Like, listen, I think his paintings suck too, but I'm not going to fucking shoot this guy.
Fucking murderer. Plus, put your dick away.
And can you please stop thrusting in my office?
Christ almighty. Yeah, so I guess previously fucking Blythe got put into the orb and everybody's like, cool.
Yes.
Orb's all locked up, Blythe's all locked up, we're good to go.
Got his
And then
ass into the
lady's
shadow
like,
realm.
Yeah, she's like, he fucking gets out and runs amok. I'm from more in the future and we put the orbs in the past and he figured that shit out. Now he's using the orbs and he's going to fuck everything up for a couple hundred years. So you got to go stop him because I got to sit here and just kind of be hot.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
kind of. The whole time I was just like, is that Jamie Gertz? She looks a lot like because I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, she looks a lot like the lady from the Lost Boys, but it's not.
Oh.
So
Yeah, nope.
yeah, nude. Fine.
They're chasing down Pepe in the most 20th century set. Like,
I noticed that too. I was like, maybe there was like this massive time jump that happened in between the episodes
that's what I
watched.
thought. Yeah, all it was missing was like parking meters. Like,
This was on Fox. I don't know where they shot. I don't know which backlot that was. But I've been to quite a few of the backlots here in town. The period ones.
Yeah.
And I could not pick out which one it was. This episode it was surprisingly horny. And not
do you
even
want to talk about it?
not even because of the naked lady. I had a real problem with a bunch of stuff happens and then Briscoe's watching pool from across the street and Bowler rolls up and he's like, I was having a sex dream, let me tell you all about it.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
Yes, knock that shit off.
Don't at all. Like,
Where the fuck are we? What happens in this episode?
Well, so they hire. No, they don't hire Pepe Le Pew. So they're chasing Pepe Le Pew, and Pepe Le Pew gets, in quotes, rescued by the U.S. government, who's like, yo, you need to do this safe cracking job for us, otherwise you're going to go to jail. And he's like, Sacre Bleu, I guess I'm doing that. And he gets into the safe, and inside the safe is the orb.
Yep.
And he's like, fucking rad, my job's done. So, like, I'm free to go, right? They fucking kill Pepe Le Pew. And then out of the orb comes Bly, who's like, hey, did you know that my mom has worked with Jim Jarmusch? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, he basically shows up and he's like, all right, back to being dastardly. And yeah, I mean, from there we have what goes on.
but one of the orbs was actually cast in brass and super heavy. They made like 4 orb props. One of them had like rods that came out and all this stuff. But then they had one that was just a solid brass orb, and it was apparently heavy as shit and really hard to move around.
Well, and there's clearly one orb that only has like 1 glow stick come out, and there's one that has 3, and they're really excited when they're like, get the 3 glow stick orb.
And pulling those 3 rods out makes it do anything you want. Just
exactly.
Time travel,
slide whistle,
bulletproof, mind control.
Unless you want to save your friend.
Yes.
Then in that case, it's like,
Sorry. Why aren't you working?
I don't help singers.
Yeah.
This episode did take this. Speaking of slow pace, and this one took a while to get going. I felt it was like 20 minutes before it was like, oh shit, Bly's even out of jail. Like, things happen very slowly to them, and so because of that, it happens very slowly to us. And so by the time they realize that, like, the good guys, Brisco and Poole and Bowler and Jamie Gertz, not Jamie Gertz, Karina. By the time they realize that Bly's about to pull it off, like, they're like,
Yeah.
man, I wish we could get some time back. We really wasted a lot of it in the beginning of the episode.
Well, so with that, with time on the mind, let's talk about the sort of further time paradox that happens here. So Brisco stops Blythe, but in the process, Blythe shoots Bowler.
Yep.
And Brisco's like, well, fuck, if all these other assholes are jumping around time, why can't I?
Yeah.
So he goes back in time, which I'm assuming we would have seen that scene in a previous episode.
I would assume so too, and I'm assuming we would have gotten into why the time portal looks a lot like a vagina. I have it in my notes as time vagina, but yeah, he just like straight up leaps through that and then saves his buddy. Cool.
Yeah.
But then there's another instance where he goes through the time vagina, right?
So later, he's got to go through the time pussy again. And both instances,
the time pussy.
Both instances in which he uses it, he basically just takes advantage of the person who opened it, marveling at its brilliance, to just like use it before them. He does it to
Swan dives
Bly,
into the shit.
and then he does it to Karina. Like, she's hypothetically seen this happen before. It's just how she got here. And so she opens it, and then she's just like, ooh, and Brisco's like, me first.
But then, Karina, it makes time traveling easier. You might want to put on some fucking cleats so that you can do the 40-yard dash a little bit faster next time.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too. Is like when Brisco's going back in time, it didn't seem like his clothes inhibited him.
She said at the beginning, being naked makes long distance time travel easy. She traveled thousands of years. Brisco hypothetically was only going a little while. So
maybe one of his socks is missing or something, or
so take that.
Yeah.
Damn it, I got baited by Brisco County Jr.
The Emmy Award-winning steampunk Western writing of Carlton Cuse has foiled you yet again, Kevin.
You fucking idiot.
Get orbed.
I deserve Nash Bridges.
Every time Bowler says something, it's about naked ladies.
Yeah.
Like, all of his lines are just like, I didn't get to see the naked lady.
Yeah.
And then later he does in his life. It makes him not want to retire, because he's like, man, if I don't continue to be a bounty hunter, I might not be running in any more sweet orb pussy. So I better not close up shop and open a winery in Napa.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I do like those little touches with Bowler's character, though, where like the fact that he wants to like open up a winery or like he's a singer, because like he is played usually like as like, you know, I'm this grizzled and angry bounty hunter, but he always has this sort of like softer side that'll occasionally come up, but he still brings it up. Yeah. Like it's like this big, oh, goddamn it, I'm gonna retire. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna open up a winery in Napa, and it's like I'm gonna go home to my cat named Snuggles, and his name is Apt. Like it's so fun.
Yeah, no, it's the guy who's gonna die in a Vietnam movie. Like, this is my girl, Mary Sue. When I get home, I'm gonna marry her and start a potato farm. It's like, this motherfucker's gonna die. That's the only reason we had to get this info.
The Black Dynamite joke where the second that person dies. Who saw that coming? I mean, who saw where that came from?
Yeah, precisely.
When Bowler's dying, I actually made a note here about this was some really positive male relationship stuff. As he's dying, Bowler says to Brisco, "You were the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank you for being my friend." And I thought that, and Brisco doesn't, you know, it's not treated like tongue in cheek or anything like that. We only got about 15 seconds left. Karina takes the orb back to the future. They make a little joke about that. I'm surprised Bowler didn't say that portal looks like a pussy. Sometimes
and then there's still episodes of the show left.
Sometimes it's good to have something in your life that you love to hate, like Nash Bridges. And then they meet the president, and he hires them to be Black Ops agents.
Nope. The speaker is, I'm getting my time back. No talk about the president. That
I feel like that's how a real president ends up in jail, by directly hiring people to be Black Ops agents. Kevin, next card.
Next card. All right. JP, are you happy now? We're going back to Nash Bridges. We were talking about Rockin' a Hard Place.
Rockin' a Hard Place.
Yeah, we are,
Number
baby.
1 on the schedule. Number not 1 in your hearts. Let's get 10 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1.
Rockin' a Hard Place is the first episode of the 6th season of Nash Bridges. It originally aired on October 6, 2000. It was written by Reed Steiner and Damon Lindelof and was directed by Jim Charleston. Jim Charleston was the director of Time Cop, not the one you're thinking about. Birds of Prey, also not the one you're thinking about. And Dawson's Creek, probably the one you're thinking about.
I don't want to wait.
Adam, give a recap.
Yes, I do.
Do it.
Hey, guys, is San Francisco near the water? Don Johnson and Cheech are targeted by an escaped convicted kidnapper with terminal cancer who is hell-bent on revenge against Nash for killing his wife when she tried to kidnap a teenage girl. This was the dumbest thing I watched on Wednesday, and I accidentally saw 4 seconds of Tucker Carlson's new show on X.com.
All right, I did not look this up. Is this the same plot as the movie Speed?
Basically, that's what I wrote down.
Okay, good.
It's basically Speed plus Saw. Like, because Saw, you got like the person who has cancer who's like, I'm going to fucking teach you a lesson.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because I wrote in my beginning, and I was like, Nash and Joe are going to do Die Hard with a Vengeance, but then get bored 15 minutes into it and not remember the time limit part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we gotta talk about this fucking opening.
We gotta talk about the opening.
We gotta talk about this fucking opening. Okay, so this opens with Nash Bridges and Cheech Marin tied up on a boat. The bad guys are like, well, fucking your goose is cooked. Instead of shooting you, we're just going to hop off this boat. You're gonna crash into something and then you're going to explode. Yeah. Bye, suckers.
Yep.
So then that guy leaves. Of course, they get out of it, and they're like, "Okay, well, we got to go get revenge."
They use an emergency flare to burn the ropes off, singeing their suit jacket collars or the cuffs of both of their jackets. But then jackets are fine later.
Here's the thing: that is cool, but prior to that, they have to like awkwardly reach for the flares. And so it's basically like the first bit of tension in that scene comes from, will this man in his 40s be flexible enough to get there?
Right. Yeah. I was like, this is all they can ask him to do without a stunt double.
Yep. So they're able to get off the death boat. And then they're like, all right, well, we got to go take out this operation. So
time out. Why didn't they call this episode Death Boat instead of Rockin' a Hard Place? I don't know why Rockin' a Hard Place is the name of this episode. Sorry, continue.
Totally
It's because
fair.
we haven't written Death Boat yet, baby. We're about to.
Unpause. Go ahead, Kevin.
Unpause. Okay. So they get to the warehouse where this drug operation is. And so there's a bunch of guys that are stuffing drugs into pinatas. Horrified to hear that my side hustle was already gotten to back in 2001.
What if there's one guy who was really not invested in the drugs and was really like a master craftsman? He's like, I'm really proud of these fucking pinatas.
Yeah, there's got to be one pinata guy in the operation, right? Listen, I'm not happy with how they're being used, but it's a living. I still get to practice my craft.
Maybe it was Shiny Pants Thug.
Could be. Yeah, could be. All right. So, in order to take down this operation, the first thing they do is they kind of like, do the little whistle, basically do the thing from like a stealth video game.
I wrote that. I wrote that exactly here. Guard 1 falls for an off-screen whistle like a fucking guard from Metal Gear Solid. I wrote that.
Exactly, yeah. So like one guy comes over, Cheech Marin is like, oh, is this the right place? And then bam, Don Johnson knocks him out.
Got
and
him.
I'm like, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Great. Love it. Yeah.
Now a second guard, wait, what was that noise? And then he cocks his shotgun and he goes back and then they do the exact same thing. Cheech Marin goes, is this the right place? And then bam, knocked out. And I was like, I kind of hope this is just the next 45 minutes.
Yes, they stun all 10 guards the exact same way.
Yeah. Like, I want them to, like, hit an ad break and come back, and then, like, there's one guard that's like, wait, what's that over there? And, like, we just keep fucking going.
This is a pile of 9 unconscious dudes.
But no, we end at 2 because that's when they decide, all right, we knocked out 2 of them. Now we can go guns blazing.
We both have a gun. Now, the most powerful force in the world, 2 police officers with 2 guns. We can do anything.
And that anything is them shooting an explosive barrel like it's fucking GoldenEye 64. They go fucking, like, these people go flying.
Yeah.
And, I just want to know what part of de-escalation training involves shooting barrels. I don't know. Anyway.
All of it.
The man is a captain. The man's a captain. In the San Francisco Police Department.
Right. He should be just managing stuff.
He should be
right?
at a desk filling out paperwork and writing up Joe Dominguez for blasting folks in warehouses.
Guys, we need to get to Boz. We need to talk faster.
Yeah, we do.
Shut up. We're clipping right through this.
Boz is a character. Now, I watched these in chronological order, so this was the first time I saw Boz.
This was the first one I
Right?
saw too, yeah.
Boz may have been in a previous episode. I don't know. Boz is a friend of Nash Bridges.
He
There's a dead body in
he joined the cast in season 3.
Yeah, so there's a dead body in his trunk. Calls up his good buddy Nash Bridges. Nash, I don't know. I promise you I didn't do this. I'm this sort of urban gangstery kind of guy. You got to clear my name. They go to his house. He's upper crust. He's like a part of a millionaire waspy family.
Wait,
and then they have a
Endgame?
whodunit mystery. And the joke is that he talks different
I think this is in
around his
Catfight.
family.
This is a
This is an Endgame. You're confusing your notes for this is that happened in Endgame.
Yeah, no, this
Oh,
is
fuck, I'm in the wrong tab.
You're in the wrong tab, baby. God damn it, we only have several more minutes left. Okay, well,
It was
I'm
bound to
glad-
happen. I wrote down in my notes in the first car scene of the 2 of them talking, I wrote down, say Bubba again one more time, I fucking dare you. He says Bubba to Joe about 40 times in that first scene. And then that.
I'm sorry.
The only thing I noticed in that scene was they're not wearing seatbelts, which I, for whatever reason, was really annoyed by. I'm like, you're cops! God damn it.
And then the next thing I wrote was that the camera moved between the scenes, the arcing, swooping thing.
I fucking hate that.
I was like, this is getting old instantly.
Dude, no, I gotta ask. All right, so JB, and like, I'm gonna need y'all's help on this.
Cheech
because-
doesn't know how to hold a gun. I just want to say that real quick.
That's very good.
None of them do.
Now, was it? Be honest. Was it Batman and Robin that used like, a fuckload of Dutch tilts, or like 90%
Oh, yeah.
of the movie
Yeah,
is
yeah,
shot
yeah,
in a Dutch
Totally.
tilt?
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but there was a period in time when film was influenced by Batman and Robin. Because, like, I saw the Dutch tilts here, and I was like, why are we doing that? And yeah, there's like a transition. It basically just looks like the camera op fell over.
Right. It looks like he passed out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they cover up the sound of his unconscious body hitting the floor with a whoosh.
Exactly, yeah. And then, like, you can just see the editor in the bay turning around to the director and being like, I don't know, I thought it worked.
We got to do it. It's in camera, baby.
Yeah. That's a stylistic choice. But yeah, no, it's like, it's shot like a Tony Scott movie, but not as visually interesting.
Yeah.
Sure. So this guy wants fucking Nash to kill Joe, and otherwise a bomb's gonna go off in the city. And every time that he calls Nash, he's within line of sight and lets him know that he's within line of sight. And every single time Nash Bridges can just be like, "Oh, it's that motherfucker right over there."
Exactly.
Oh, hey, look, it's that guy from Prison Break. Joe and his wife are going to buy the house from the money pit.
Yeah, that's a whole subplot.
So fucking superfluous. Like, I didn't care.
It was so superfluous, and it took up so much of the episode.
Yes. We have Nash Bridges playing chess with the bomb guy.
The guy,
For some reason. But then, Garbage. He plants like a little bomb in like a garbage can.
Nearby garbage can.
And that
He's like,
blows
it's
up.
only a quarter stick, a C4 that would have vaporized all those people.
Yeah, seriously, man. But yeah, the garbage bomb for me is just how I started referring to this episode, just
You
so I
shut
can
up,
remember it. But yeah, give us how this ends, JP. What ends up happening?
So the guy, well, first of all, he moves up the timeline, but Nash Bridges still has time to have a nice spaghetti dinner with his fucking daughter over a bottle of wine.
And his dad, who starts to show signs of dementia.
And despite moving up the timeline, that does not inject any pace or energy into this episode.
It doesn't.
Right. He kidnaps Nash Bridges' daughter. He takes her to the rock. They disarm what they think is the bomb. They shoot the guy. They're going to celebrate. The bomb's in a car. New guy drives it into the ocean.
Yep.
That's
it.
Yeah. And by the end of it, I was
it.
like, what did Nash Bridges do this entire episode? He just blew off like the fucking bomber on the phone a few times. Otherwise, it's like
He should have just been at his desk doing paperwork like a fucking captain does.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do anything on the street.
Yeah,
Well, it's
I know.
because he's always getting sexually harassed by Betty Ann or whatever her name is. He doesn't want to be in the office. She's always horned up.
I'm depressed.
Why are you depressed?
We still have one more episode of fucking Nash Bridges to talk about. Kevin, next card, please.
Are we getting there right now? We are going back to Brisco, baby.
Number 4. That'll be Socrates' sister. Oh, lordy. All right, 10 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1. Socrates' Sister is the 5th episode of Brisco County Jr. Season 1, and it originally aired on September 24th, 1993. It was written by Chris Ruppenthal and directed by Greg Beeman. Chris Ruppenthal was a co-producer and writer on Quantum Leap.
Hey.
And he did both. He did a few episodes of both The X-Files and Moonlighting. Greg Beeman directed an episode of Rizzoli and Isles. The Daniel Stern vehicle Bushwhacked. And 18 episods of Nash Bridges.
Wow.
Do you have a recap, JP?
I do. If there's one thing that I'm known for, it's trying to bang my lawyer's sister. Brisco and Bowl are hot on the trail of the dad from Boy Meets World. In Greek mythology, Iphigenia, how do you say it?
That you got it. Got it in one.
Yeah, Iphigenia is the daughter of Agamemnon.
Nailed it.
From the Iliad. In Brisco County Jr., she's a hopeless romantic East Coast lawyer that can bake one hell of a roofie cake. Will Brisco recover the lost counterfeit plates? Will they rescue what's-her-face, who I can't pronounce her name? Or will the writers have a non-race-related reason why Bowler can't swim? Sorry, Brisco, you'll have to speak up. I'm wearing Chekhov's diving suit. It's Socrates' sister here on The Lost Effect.
Do we even have to go on after that? That pretty much covers everything, don't it?
Yeah, actually, I fucking like this episode. This is a good episode.
Well, and honestly, I was texting Busher about this. I feel like when Nash Bridges is just a Western show, I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, the second the orb comes on screen, there's just this part of my brain
You mean
that's like,
Brisco. You said Nash Bridges.
Yeah, you said
Fuck.
Nash. Yeah, it's all good. Don't
take
worry
it back.
We got you.
Yeah, but yeah, it's anytime the orb is on screen in Brisco, there's just this part of my brain that's like, I don't fucking care, man. Like, this is just a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
But when it is just like a straight up Western, I was actually having some fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
One thing that Brisco County Jr. did was, this is a thing that they covered throughout the show. Brisco is a man on the edge of a transitional, or he's in a transitional period in America in the West. You can see it in San Francisco. San Francisco, electricity is coming. The telegraph is coming. The Old West is dying and disappearing. The show is set in 1893, something like that.
Sure.
And Brisco is a man who sees the coming future and wants to be a part of it. He wants to embrace it. So he embraces characters like Professor Whitwer and what they referred to, Cuse and the other team, as the coming thing. And so in the pilot episode, they do a rocket. They have this diving suit. They're always like, this character, John Aston, played by John Aston, is in several episodes of the show. And sometimes the heavy steampunk elements of Brisco County Jr. are, at least the science fiction aspect of it is laid to the side to just show the Old West and what it's about to become.
Yeah, the Old West becoming the New West, basically. Yeah.
And I think despite the fact that I'm a huge fan of the show throughout, the science fiction stuff is very odd, and I think people in general weren't ready for it necessarily. But the steampunky, weird Westy stuff work throughout. And so there are, I think, a majority of the episodes are like that. And they just deal with Brisco trying to catch the 10 guys that murdered his father. Totally. And then using potential...
It's very Kill Bill.
Yeah, and also then using the coming thing to help him. And and this is one of those episodes. Bly's not in it. The Orb's not in it.
Yeah.
April O'Neil from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is in it.
Fuck yeah, she is.
And she was she was a childhood crush of mine. And so
Gonna say by proxy, Adam's boner's in it. But Brisco and Bowler are hot on the trail of some guy, and he's like, I'm not that guy, and this is the Old West, so they were like,
oh, shit, there's a chance. There's a
might
chance
not
it's
be.
not that guy.
I wish
yeah,
it's too bad he has such a generic name. Jack Randolph. God, might as well be Bill Smith.
But this guy had written a bunch of letters to Socrates' sister, who was a lawyer. She comes in and effectively is saying, no, there's actually a liable case to assume that this is not the right guy.
Right, yeah. And the burden of proof is on you, the state.
Exactly.
Until proven guilty.
Yeah. And so she eventually does help him break out of jail because she's like, it's so unfair what they're doing to you. So she roofie
and she's all horned up.
Oh, of course she is.
I wrote here in my notes that Randolph convinces Iffy to bust him out. She is the most Mark-ass Mark in the history of Marks.
She's more of a trick-ass Mark. I don't know. Maybe a Mark-ass trick.
But she breaks him out, and then they ride off together. Yep. Brisco's on their trail, and then immediately Jack Randolph turns to her and was like, yeah, psych, I'm actually the bad guy, and then just fucking beats her off the horse.
Hot rock.
And I guess, if I have, a legitimate note, I think they, kind of pull the cord on that a little bit too quick. I think you can play with, is this the right guy or not, for, the episode. Yeah. That's actually really interesting.
Because he's like, we're being followed. Why is that? Because I don't see him. And I was just like, oh, Briscoe's just that fucking good, baby. Just on everyone's ass all the time. So he dumps her, and he's like, later, Toots.
Somewhere around this point, Socrates decides that it's upon him to save his sister and packs his entire life into a wagon and starts slowly following them.
And the first time it happened, I didn't know what was happening or who it was. I didn't recognize it as Socrates. And I was like, what the fuck is this subplot? And I was like, oh, it's the brother. Got it. The robbers... hid the plate in a town that has since been flooded due to a dam being built, so they need to steal the diving suit so that they can go underwater and find the plate so they can counterfeit $5 bills.
You skipped the part in which Randolph and Pete caught Brisco following them and then tied him and Iphigenia to a tree, and then instead of just killing them, a la the thugs from Rock and a Hard Place, tied them up with rawhide, left a perfectly good, what I would assume cost $80 lever action repeater rifle on a stick nearby, and then did some fucking science-y shrinking of the water in the rawhide to blast them. So that just shoot them, just shoot them.
When I mentioned earlier that there's a lot of ineffectiveness that happens in the show, this was absolutely something that leapt to mind in that moment.
But it allows Brisco to steal a smooch from Iffy.
From this definitely not this woman who's dealing with the fact that she was recently betrayed, and he's like, you know what I love? Vulnerable women.
So bend over and chew on this. He said that to her. That was ridiculous.
That was very
was.
ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. She did not react very well to the kiss. She was like, "You have to write me several letters in which you lie to me before I am down for this, buddy."
But once you do that, once you put in a little work, oh man,
I'm yours.
yep. They haven't invented the slip and slide yet, but baby, it's the coming thing.
Stop it.
No, that's what John Aston makes next is the slip and slide.
Also
You
earlier,
see, you just put some water on it, and then it's kind of fun to go on it.
it's an afternoon of fun for the children.
Jesus.
Earlier, Brisco tricked Bowler into like walking into a bee farm, and he rescues them, but he's all stung to shit.
Yeah.
Which is pretty hilarious. And then the horse rescues Socrates. Comet rescues
Yeah.
Socrates, and also steals a newspaper, which allows Brisco to figure out what the plan is.
Right.
Pete and Jack's plan. So they all meet at
Yeah.
the lake, formerly Gravesend, Colorado or California, wherever.
Something like that, yeah. Y'all ever seen the movie Top Secret with Val Kilmer?
Yeah.
When he has the underwater saloon fight?
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted from this, but I'm sure they didn't have the budget for it.
It's because Briscoe's like, oh, he's already underwater. We'll just wait. And she's like, aren't you going to stop me? He's like, what? I'm going to go fight him underwater and he's in a diving suit and I will have. And she's like, well, that's kind of anticlimactic. Like, I thought that
we'll
was
just
pretty
wait
funny.
until they get on the raft and we'll shoot him. Like,
But then, Bowler, who earlier said he couldn't swim, the first time he fell in this same lake, he was like, I can't swim. And they did just stand up. You're fine. He's like, oh, yeah. So he's like secretly like swimming out there under cover of a log.
Yeah.
And he gets spotted. Go figure. And he starts to drown because he can't swim.
Because he can't swim, right?
For some reason.
Brisco smashes the scuba suit of the one guy.
Yep.
They throw the other guy's gun in the water, and then we just never see him again.
Yep. My piece.
He loved his gun so much.
That dude drowns, and apparently, I think this is the only instance in which a man in the show dies by Briscoe's hand, and even here it was self-defense because he was defending himself during the fight.
Sure.
He never. I don't think he ever shoots anybody in the special feature. Well, never mind.
Well, that's that.
Next card, Kevin.
Next card. We got one left, gentlemen.
Really?
Yeah.
I could do this all day.
You son of a bitch.
Back to New San Francisco with Nash Bridges.
What a
and
fitting end.
End game.
Oh, yeah. Right? Fuck.
All right, 10 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1.
Endgame is the 7th episode of the 6th season of Nash Bridges. It originally aired on November 10th, 2000. It was written by Reed Steiner and Damon Lindelof. It was also directed by Jim Charleston. Jim Charleston directed 26 episodes of Nash Bridges. He spent a lot of time around Don Johnson and probably knows his thoughts on, quote, the Jews. Adam, do you have a recap?
I do.
Please, regale us.
What happened to Antoine? DJ and Cheech get tangled up in a version of the most dangerous game, except to replace dangerous with tedious. Turns out hunting humans is super easy when they're all dumb as hell. Also, I think Jamie Kennedy stole the idea from Malibu's Most Wanted from this episode's B-plot.
That's it.
DJ
We don't need the other 9 minutes. We're good.
they're just driving down the road. They're talking about nonsense. They get pulled over by some clown who wants to buy Don Johnson's super rare 71 Plymouth Barracuda.
Cuda.
Of which I looked it up. This is an actual super rare car. The one that they use for the show is not. It's a 70 Cuda that they made look like a 71 because the 71 is actually really rare.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how rare the car is. If some moron on the street offers me $300,000 and then $400,000 and then $500,000 for it, take the fucking car.
Yeah, right.
Get your
like,
fucking checkbook
Get
out.
your checkbook out.
This is
Hang out with me while I cash it,
Yeah.
just so I know you're not
Yeah.
full of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
but the keys are all yours as soon as we run to the bank.
Right.
It's a fucking car.
You can just
He loves it more than he loves his family.
you can just get a fucking Toyota Corolla and then pocket the money.
Yeah. For and this is just another instance of people not understanding how much a large sum of money is. Like how people don't understand the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. It's like you can make $1 million in like 10 years. Like any average, decent paying job will pay you $1 million in 10 years. An average decent paying job will never pay you $1 billion in your lifetime. Like that's
Right.
how and so yeah, even like $500,000. I've never seen $500,000 in my life. Fuck. Yeah, when I go to cash my paycheck and it's just like a regular dude amount of money, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to Corona Tacos this weekend and get me some of them fries. Like,
You haven't seen that amount of money, Adam, because you haven't taken out an insurance policy on Kevin and then killed him, like I told you to.
careful. That's I think
Is that
conspiracy.
Is that why you guys painted an X on the floor over here?
There's a piano above you.
Fuck!
So
Not again.
So these fucking chuckle fucks from like no one. It's the boogeyman of the early 2000s that like boomers worried about, where it's like millennials just don't understand the value of life, or young people don't understand the value of life, so they'll just kill each other for no reason.
Yeah.
And so these yahoos are running around the city killing each other. They're seemingly used to be friends, but they were like, this is a good way to spend a weekend.
Yeah,
Hunt
so-
each other for sport.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it's like they get stopped. Oh, yeah, can I buy your car? And then out of nowhere, some dude just pulls up, pulls out a shotgun, and starts shooting at the person who was trying to buy the car from him.
Yeah.
And that dude takes out 2 pistols. They have a full-on shootout.
Yeah.
And then guy with 2 pistols gets onto a bus.
Yeah.
And shotgun guy's like, oh, dang it. I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then he turns around and gets fucking blasted by Nash Bridges.
Yep.
And that's just how we start. And we're all just kind of left to be like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
I wrote that was like in my I wrote this in all caps here. A dude tries to buy the Barracuda for $500,000, and then a fucking shootout occurs, and Nash kills a guy.
But again, he's like hella casual about. Like he just murdered someone.
Not a big deal.
This is season
He's back
6.
at work the rest of the day.
I imagine maybe in season 1 when he killed the guy, they wrote like Don Johnson, who was an executive producer on the show, was probably like, I want him to have conflicted feelings about killing this man. And now it's season 6, and he's probably killed. I don't understand numbers. Millions of people at this point. So he's like, I'll blast you. I'll blast a teenage girl on a motorcycle. I'll blast some idiot in a shiny purple jacket in the middle of a street. I don't give a shit anymore. Don't try to buy my car. This Boz. So Boz is, and Boz is around his I want to do 2 things, then JP, you can talk about Boz real quick. They constantly refer to this case as a gig, which drives me nuts because it's not a gig, it's a case. Gigs are for freelance people like actors, writers, BTL people in the industry. We are always looking for the next gig. Cops have cases that they investigate. They look for clues. They investigate cases. They don't do gigs. And that drove me up a fucking wall. And then also, this is where they meet Abby Gordon, investigator Abby Gordon from Minnesota, who's played by Melinda Clark, who I also have a huge crush on. She played Nandy in Heart of Gold from Firefly. She's gorgeous. And she was the hooker with the Heart of Gold and the madam of the thing, who Mal falls in love with and sleeps with. And she's very, very pretty. And I thought that they were setting her up to be this recurring this love interest for Nash, which I thought was really, really great. So anyway, JP, do you have any thoughts on Boz?
I have so many goddamn thoughts on Boz. Holy shit. So I watched these in chronological order. So this is the first time I see Boz. I don't think it's the first time the audience has seen him, because he's apparently a recurring character in this fucking show. Boz has a dead body in his trunk, and he calls up his good buddy Nash to fucking bail him out of this because he's the only cop that he trusts. So then Boz is like, all right, well, this is my fucking family gardener. So they go to Boz's family's house. He's a bunch of waspy 1%ers that should probably all be fucking shot. And all of a sudden he speaks different. That's the joke, because he kind of talks real urban, and now he's all upper crust and proper. And it's a fucking laugh riot. And then they have a whodunit so Nash Bridges can fuck the lady detective.
I did write here that Boz actually does explain code switching, which is kind of cool.
This entire, I was about to say B plot, but again, it's Nash Bridges, so it's just 2 A plots smooshed together.
Yeah.
So A plot, it's basically just shitty Knives Out.
Yeah. That's what I wrote. One of my last notes is, what's up with this clue-ass ending?
Yeah. Can we talk about the ending really quick?
Oh, of course.
Boz finds out that his real parents were not the rich people that raised him, but rather the like servant lady in the house. Yep. And
who's hella casual when that information gets dropped. Yeah.
The baby daddy was a guy that went out to Vietnam to die, but he's black, so Boz is like half black. Yes. And then he does the free at last.
Lord Almighty, I'm free at last.
I've never wanted a cigarette so bad in my life.
I cringed into my body. It
Yeah.
was, and here's the thing that I thought about. The only positive takeaway is Damon Lindelof would go on to write Watchmen, which I thought was a pretty nuanced and interesting and I think progressive take on race.
Yeah.
And so it's like, shit, that dude grew up
Yeah.
so much since this
What a
episode.
glow up.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Here's some highlights from my notes real quick. Just a couple of interesting, like the only interesting things I wrote down. I thought that Henry, the pile of laundry, wanted to fuck Rachel.
Yeah.
But Rachel's apparently fucking Nash.
Yes.
I had another note here. During the first scene with the Game Masters, they say peace 1,000 times, and I wrote, say peace again, I fucking dare you. Because I thought they were talking about a gun. It turns out they were talking about his fucking cufflinks.
Oh, wow.
Boz had a very funny line, how can I ever repay you? And Nash says, you can't. You owe me for the rest of your life. I was like, that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Rachel,
To be fair, they won't let me bring my real guns in the laser tag either. So, it's... I asked.
I couldn't remember the dude in the white jacket's name, so I just called him Haircut. And so I have a note here, just like later, Maid kills Haircut.
Yeah.
They have a conversation in the CUDA about the CUDA, and they say CUDA 1,000 times, and I wrote, say CUDA again, I fucking dare you.
That's it. The idiot kids all end up kind of killing each other except for the last two.
Yeah.
They decide to get in on the game. One of the cops that is like when they have the building surrounded straight up does not have a magazine in his rifle. That's San Francisco PD, baby.
This is what happens when you defund the police. Despite the fact that there's no bullets in that gun, the Game Masters do commit suicide by cop.
And Nash is kind of happy about it until he's real somber about it. He's like, oh no.
Because his first thought is like, all 6 in the 10 ring. And then he's like, oh, that was a life that I took. Bummer.
Well,
How did they find the bus guy, the last guy? They never explained how they found bus guy. They just found him on a bus.
he was just sleeping on a bus and somebody called it in.
This San Francisco fucking. So many people sleep on buses. Abby Gordon never comes back to the show.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can take away from either show and be like, oh, these things later go on to be in Lost or have influenced it? The only thing I noticed about Nash Bridges is its main character is arrogant, but he thinks he's charming, and the show thinks he's charming. So I guess that's the precursor to Jack Shepherd.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like with Brisco County Jr., like what do you guys see in that where you can be like, oh, there's traces of Lost here. Or here's something that'll go on to be in Lost. Is it just sort of like the sci-fi elements, or was there anything else you guys noticed?
I think it's both of that. I think it's both
Yeah.
the sci-fi thing and the fact that Brisco County Jr. is semi-serialized. Like, of course, they have their Western story of the week that they do, just like the old movie serials that they were trying to emulate. But there is this recurring, albeit sort of goofy, ongoing story about the orb. So just showing that Carlton Cuse he likes serialized stuff. He's got a little bit of a knack for it.
Kind of a Nash for it.
Nice. So, that's, I think, not only Cuse's foundational work prior to Lost, but then also his effect on the industry at large, which I think is neat. And I really, really hope that if he is a shitty boss to work for, he's having a moment
Where
hopefully
he can reflect and he can improve.
do better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so go back and rewrite these shows. Be better. Wait, no. Is that what we're talking about? I don't think so.
I like some police procedurals. I'll admit that, while I am a police abolitionist, and I do believe that law enforcement should be dismantled, if you can ignore the propaganda aspect of police procedurals, it's entertaining television. I can see why people eat shit like this up. Even by the end of the third Nash Bridges that we watched, part of me was banging my head against the wall. Other part of me was curious, like, what are they going to do with this money laundering storyline, which we didn't touch on at all.
No, we didn't.
What's up with this Betty Ann thing? She acts as though she's been here this whole time, but I didn't. I would like to see where she came from in the first place. We talked very little about his daughter, who ends up being, and we talked about this in an episode of Lost, how Ana Lucia Cortez should never be serving under her mother in Los Angeles PD. Why is Cassidy a member of SIU?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's more of my face blindness. One of the women that they bring on is Nash's girlfriends in either a earlier or later season looks shockingly similar to his daughter, and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And that bothers me.
Yeah, I understand. I can see exactly why people like Nash Bridges, because it's mindless shit that you can just put on the background. You can hear the Cuda rooming in the background. You hear him talking, saying Bubba, and
Yeah.
it's like
It's like NCIS.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The thing that kept coming to mind as I was watching Nash Bridges was like Jag. You know, it's
totally.
that, and like that style of television has largely gone away. I mean, like we still have it with like our NCISs and CSIs and shit, but that's kind of it. Like those are the last holdovers. From that era. So yeah, I mean, like if you are interested in stuff like that, if you're like, I really miss Jag, then like go find Nash Bridges. I'm sure you'll get something out of it.
I think my mom's met Bill Smitrovich. I'm going to try and find a picture.
I don't know who that is.
He was the dad on Life Goes On. Anyways, Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having. This was fun, despite me asking for death.
I'm going to do it, but I'm going to complain the whole time.
This was an absolute blast. Thank you guys for having me.
So yeah, Kevin, thank you again for taking the time. Thank you for watching so much TV.
You put in a lot of time for this very stupid bit.
I did recognize, I think it was like once I got halfway through the last episode, I was like, if you take the amount of time I've spent watching these 6 episodes, I think that is longer than cumulatively the amount of Lost I've watched for your Lost podcast. So yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast.
I knew Nash Bridges was our format. I thought Brisco was 30 minutes, and I watched the first one, and I literally just was like, oh no, Kev. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
And we will absolutely have you back. Season 2 of Lost on Lost is right around the corner. And so we got plenty more to talk about once that shows up. But in the immediate future, what are we doing next time, JP?
Let's see. If you want to be lost with us, next time we're going to be watching the pilot of the show Flash Forward called No More Good Days. Mike Traylor is going to be joining us for that one, so that's pretty exciting.
Looking forward to that. Another show inspired sort of by the success of Lost. And we'll sort of get into that.
Well, hey, thank you all for indulging us with this episode of Lost on Lost: The Lost Effect.
I'm Adam.
I'm JP.
You have any idea why we did this?
Fuck you.
Fuck you back.
Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.